It's Melanie here with Vintage Hill Studio. Today I have a simple but sincere sympathy card. This is what it looks like. The beauties and the simplicity for this one. I'll be using 2 embossing folders, and then the card base is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I have 2 mats, a black mat and a white mat. So let's get started. As always, all the dimensions and supplies for today's card can be found below in the description here on YouTube. And if you're new to the channel, look over here down in the corner for my subscribe button if you're interested in becoming a subscriber for weekly card making videos. See the beauty of both of these embossing folders. And this is one of the little jewels that I purchased when I first started doing cards. It is the Sizzix Texture Boutique. It is specifically used for embossing folders only. You can't do die cuts with this little machine. It's for embossing only. You can see one of the mats shows you the sandwiches here that you need to make for your embossing folders. And then I use a few shims just to get a really crisp, sharp embossed image. So here is my little white mat. This will be the star of the show for today. I'm going to place this inside my With Sympathy embossing folder towards the top. And because you can see through the folders, you can kind of get this centered up. All right? And then the only other thing I need to do is just sandwich that in between the 2 black plates. And of course, like I said, I do leave the shims in there just for a deeper impression. And then you're going to run this through your Texture Boutique. Now sometimes it takes a little while to actually grab because there are pressure plates inside. That's what makes the embossed image for you. It applies pressure on each side of those black plates, and that is what, in conjunction with your embossing folder, will leave you with your embossed image. There's not much more you need to do to this With Sympathy. It's a beautiful scripty With Sympathy, and it's a gorgeous embossing folder. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is flip this around so that the bottom half is textured with the leaf embossing folder. When you do this, you want to make sure that your embossing folder is not directional. In other words, it doesn't matter that I'm flipping this upside down for this other half of my embossed image, because the pattern itself is non-directional. So you can see it doesn't matter with this leaf pattern. Now I'm leaving the With Sympathy hanging outside of those black plates, and the reason I want to do that is because if you were to put this between your sandwich, it's going to flatten out the With Sympathy embossed words, and you don't want to do that. So that's why I leave it hanging outside of the plates, and then I run this through my machine, and it's only going to emboss that lower 3/4 of my panel. Show you that very quickly. You can see I could align that because I can see through the embossing folders. I could align that right up underneath the With Sympathy script. And then I just cut a little 1/8 inch wide strip of paper that's 4 inches long, and I ran that through that same leaf embossing folder because I'm going to use this on top of my satin ribbon in just a second. It just adds a little bit of detail and also breaks up the stark black ribbon. So I've applied liquid adhesive behind my black panel. I'm going to get that put on the front of my card, trying to line up these corners the best that I can. Sometimes it's not exactly perfect, but it's pretty close. Hey, it's handmade, so give yourself a break here. I like to use my brayer to really smush that glue around behind. It gives me a really good adhesion between layers. And then before I put on that white embossed mat, I'm going to add this 3/8 inch wide satin ribbon. I'll just determine the length that I need. I want to wrap this around the back of that white panel before I adhere it to the front of my card. And the way I do this is I use my grid mat and a little bit of this tape adhesive, and I'm going to flip my panel over because I don't care if I get excessive adhesive on the back. That doesn't matter. I'm just going to run it down the length of this satin ribbon, and then I'll flip my panel back over to the front and use my grid mat to help me align this straight across the front, in between the With Sympathy embossed image and the Leaf embossed image. So see, by lining this up on my grid mat and getting a line right there between the script and the leaf pattern, I can ensure that I am getting my ribbon straight across the front. And then I'll simply flip it over and adhere those little ends of that ribbon to the back of the white panel. Hey, I'm so glad that you dropped by to visit today. I know this isn't one of my more colorful, joyful cards, but we all need sympathy cards here and there, so maybe this will give you an idea for a very simple but sincere sympathy card. I think it's very classic and just the black and white, and you let your embossing folders do all the talking for you. So there's not really a lot going on the front. It's very simple and I think kind of sweet just in its simplicity. So again, thank you for dropping by. If you're new to the channel, I would love to have you as a subscriber. So just click the subscribe button. If you're watching from your PC, it's going to be down here in your lower right hand corner, a little red subscribe button. And if you're looking from your phone, you can scroll down just a little bit below this video, and next to my name, Vintage Hill Studio, there will be a subscribe button. And there is also a notification bell. If you hit subscribe and ring that bell, you'll be notified every time I post a new video, and I try to post once a week. So I hope you'll come back over and visit me and maybe get some inspiration for making your own cards. Here we go. Here is the finished card. I hope you can see all the embossing on the front, and I've got a little embossed border there on the inside as well, and then I embossed the flap of my envelope just so everything coordinates. Thank you so much for dropping by. I hope you have a wonderful day, and happy crafting, everyone.